Hey, what's happening everybody? Welcome to the channel. This is Jon Denton. I'm going to be talking about SUPERHOT VR on PlayStation VR, which is out Wednesday the 19th of July 2017. Now, I am confident in saying this is one of the coolest games I have ever played in my life. If you're not familiar with what SUPERHOT is, it started out as a game jam game that kind of blew up the internet, where these red bad guys come towards you. It's a first person shooter, but time only moves when you move. So in the original version and the game jam version, you move around using traditional FPS controls, and that moves the game along with you, and it's kind of like a puzzle shooter. Now in VR, it's sort of built from the ground up experience. It came out with Oculus and it's on Vive as well, and now it's out on PlayStation VR. And obviously you're not moving your feet, every single stage you're static, but you can move your body physically up, down, crouching, left and right, and you need to use whatever's in the environment, grabbing guns, using the two move controllers, and then blowing up the guys, punching them, knocking them out. And quite simply, it makes you feel like you're in the Matrix, makes you feel like you're in John Wick, makes you feel like you're Jason Bourne. It's really an incredible experience, and it works surprisingly well on PlayStation VR with a few caveats. Now, I thought the best way to actually describe this game, considering we're watching a video, is to actually show you. So here you'll see me in the corner, in the little box, moving around, failing a few times, to be honest, because it is a very hard game. Every single level is, while you can get through it in probably about 2-3 hours, every single stage is broken up into 5 or 6 smaller levels, smaller stages, and if you die in any of them and it's a one-hit kill for both you and the enemies, you get kicked back to the beginning of that level. And this level in particular has a very difficult stage at the end, but nevertheless you can see me physically moving around my room, kicking the fucking chair, getting lost, crouching, moving around. You know, it's a physically intense game. And you will sweat. You definitely need a lot of room to play in. I would say my office space probably isn't even enough room. Think about old school Connect, where you'd need to clear out a lounge. Not quite that much, but certainly more than your standard PlayStation VR game, most of which you could play sitting down. You definitely can't play this sitting down. And bear in mind, you do need both move controllers to play this game. You can't play it with a DualShock, so you need the full kit and caboodle for PlayStation VR. But my god, when it works, and I've spoken to a friend of mine who had it pretty much working the whole time, he didn't really have any tracking issues. I've suffered some tracking issues, I've suffered some move tracking issues, which has made the game harder. But when it works, it is an astounding experience like nothing else. Truly, I've played shooters in VR, plenty of them now. That's been the very like a la mode thing to do for shooters. I've played Robo Recall on Oculus, which is an amazing game in itself, but the style of SUPERHOT, the way it makes you feel, the way it makes you feel when you're grabbing guns out of the air and dodging a bullet physically by swaying your whole body and then shooting some of the bad guys, it is something else, truly. I mean, this is the type of game you need to, whether you're playing on PlayStation VR, which has a lower resolution and probably considerably inferior sort of body and room tracking than Oculus, and obviously definitely Vive with the amazing room scale in that. Even so, this is the type of game, if you don't have the capability to play, you don't have the tech, you don't have the kit, you need to get a chance. If you're interested in how different games can be, if you're interested in the future of games and you're not just a single game person just constantly playing Overwatch, something, I have nothing wrong with doing that, of course, but if you're interested, if there's the type of thing that's interested you in your whole gaming career, then SUPERHOT VR is something that you need to experience. I'm not going to class this as a review because I have had some trouble with the tracking, which other people aren't having the same issues with, and I've struggled to get through to the end of the game. That's me just being completely frank with you, so I wouldn't want to class this as a review. Bear those issues in mind. My TV is in a slightly unusual situation where I can't balance the PlayStation camera on the top of it anymore, so it has a slightly angled top to my screen. The camera is not very good at seeing all angles, and that's just a kind of wrinkle with my setup rather than a huge problem with the tech. But like I say, a guy that I know, Matt Murray from the Compute Game Show, he finished the whole game. There's a stream of his on YouTube, and he does seem to be having far fewer issues than I did. But like I said, when it works, and for 90% of the time it was working gloriously, this is an absolute must play. If you've played SUPERHOT, the proper version or the classic version, these are scenarios built from the ground up for VR. It's the same game as Oculus and Vive. And I mean, not only does it play amazingly, and the feeling of grabbing guns out of the air, blasting someone, crouching down behind cover, dodging bullets that are whistling towards you, and you can hear that effect in 3D audio. Not only is that an amazing experience, but just the overall style of the game, and that's something that is carried on from the original game. The overall style is very, very cool. I love the aesthetic. I love the way that the enemies sort of shatter into crystals. I love the fact that there's an unusual sort of story going on there where you're literally plugging yourself into a VR headset within the game. Very cool, although I must say that was one of the issues I had most problems tracking with. I don't think my camera could see that high. But nevertheless, yes, SUPERHOT VR, PlayStation VR, SUPERHOT VR, Oculus, SUPERHOT VR, Vive. However you get the opportunity to play this, I would highly, highly recommend seeking it out. And if you have the kit, this is properly, even with tracking issues, even with that caveat, I am still considering this. And what I've played, how thrilling it's been, how rewarding it is instantly, how it feels truly like nothing else, and that includes tons of shooters that I've played on VR. And you compare this to a Farpoint, which technically has a plastic gun, has the ability to move with your sticks. I mean, this blows it out of the water as far as I'm concerned. Also, as a motion sickness aficionado in VR, this didn't make me feel remotely queasy, mainly because you are stuck to the spot, and I think that's a wise decision from the developers. So yeah, essential stuff to track down. I would say everybody needs to experience this game. When it clicks, when it's as good as it can be, which is most of the time, it's truly like nothing else. It's truly glorious. It's absolutely, it makes you feel stuff in ways that traditional games just can't make you feel, because you are physically doing it. You are sweating. I had sweat literally dripping down my brow. It's hot, it's summer. I'm playing this. Amazing stuff. Truly amazing stuff. Best game on PlayStation VR, it's up there. It is quite possibly the best game on PlayStation VR, and it's also reignited my admiration and love for VR. I basically hadn't turned that headset on for a long time because the stuff that was coming out of it, there were just a bunch of like identikit shooters and some genres that I wasn't massively interested in. Setting it up was a faff, there's cables everywhere. So I kind of thought, am I done with VR? And then I played Farpoint and it made me want to throw up. So I thought I was done, and then having played Oculus and Vive as well, and seeing the sort of fidelity of those headsets, and then going back to PlayStation VR was tough. But SUPERHOT VR has unquestionably reignited my passion, reignited my admiration, reignited my interest in VR as tech, in PlayStation VR itself. So please take that as a huge recommendation. SUPERHOT VR is something extremely special indeed. Alright, thank you very much for watching. Like I said, I've been Jon Denton. If you're new to the channel, you've stumbled across this on YouTube, please do hit the subscribe button. Just supporting a channel that comes from a guy that's been reviewing video games professionally across a host of publications for over 12 years now. And if you want to support that channel, all I'm asking is just hit the subscribe button, maybe share the video, tell somebody else if you're into the channel. That's all. I've been Jon Denton, like I said. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace!